so that with your help we may attain our just objectives. With your guidance, may all our endeavors tend to peace, social justice, liberty, national happiness, the increase of industry, sobriety, and useful knowledge. We pray, O God of mercy, for all of us, that we may be blessed in the knowledge and sanctified in the observance of your most holy law, that we may be preserved in union and in that peace which the world itself cannot give. And after enjoying the blessings of this life, please admit us, dear Lord, to that eternal reward that you have prepared for those who love you. Amen.
Thank you. Please be seated. At this time, I'd like to say a pleasant good evening to everybody, to all those streaming us live this evening, and those watching us on TV, on Plus TV. Thank you for joining us this evening. And of course, thank you to all that is here present with us this evening. I'd also like to acknowledge the presence of His Worship, Mayor Pablo Kowich and Mrs. Kowich. Good evening. Deputy Mayor, Councillor Christopher Enriquez, Councillor Coretta Bana, Councillor Florita Botes, and Councillor Radin Santos. Good evening. And also, I'd like to acknowledge the presence of Ms. Belmopan as well. Good evening and thank you for being here. Also, our staff, our city admin, financial director, heads of department, supervisors, everybody welcome, and thank you for being here, and invited guests as well. Thank you. Tonight's meeting is going to be concentrated primarily on our financial status at the Belmopan City Council, where we are today, where we found the council when this team entered, and also we will be having the presentation of some long overdue audit reports that the council and the people of Belmopan have been missing thus far. This evening, I would like to ask everybody to keep their questions for the end of our presentation. We will go through the entire presentation. We'll be calling up individual representatives of different departments of our financial department to make their presentations. And after we're done with that, then we will go into the questions and answers. So that will be the format of this evening's public meeting. But before we get started with the presentation, I would like to ask His Worship Mayor Pablo Kowich to please come up and give a couple words before we get started. Mayor Kowich.
Thank you, Brother JB. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for making the time to join us here tonight. And for the ones that are joining us online, thank you for making the time as well. Today, as the Master of Ceremonies mentioned, we will be focusing on the performance and financials of the Belmopan City Council. This administration met a lot of challenges when we came into office. I believe we presented a lot of those details as time went on. We have tried to ensure that we meet or execute all of the required public meetings that the law demands. So we've been trying to ensure that we have public meetings every 6 months. We've tried to present the realities that the council faces and the achievements that we've managed to get. So today, we will try to focus, at least the financial portions will focus specifically on the current fiscal year, meaning April and May, and the other departments will cover present state. In their case, their timeline runs, so it's not a case where they only operate like a financial detailed report. They tend to focus more on real-time data. So I hope the presentations manage to paint a clear picture of where we are, where we were, and where we are, and the works that are still pending as we move forward. So thanks again firstly to LifeNet for allowing us to execute our meeting here, and to all of you for joining us tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Kowich. And with that, I think we are ready to get right into the presentation. So at this time, we will start with a trade report from our trade unit, which will be presented by Ms. Abigail Reyes, who is the trade unit supervisor. Ms. Abigail.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome. My name is Abigail Reyes. I'll be representing on the trade license unit. Okay, let's start. Slides, please. Firstly, we're going to start on our business statistics. Our total business that we have currently in the city of Belmopan is 1,158. Trade business payment in compliance, we have 87%. Trade business payment pending, we have 13%. So we are encouraging all the remaining of business who have not made their payment yet, please come in and do so. Get your status up to date. Our new business for this year, January to June 2026, we have had 98 business so far. So we're growing, we're getting there. For our liquor license, we have a total of 114 business, 98% business in compliance. This is just a brief chart to show you for the months then. For January, we had 47 businesses, February 9, March 4, April 8, May 8, and for this month, 2 so far, which bring us to a total of 1,158. Total trade invoices for 2025-2026, as you can see, we had collected the majority, which bring us to 1.2 million. For total trade invoice 2026-2027, we still have an outstanding balance of 114,620. So, like I mentioned before, I'm encouraging all the businesses that have not made their payment, please come in and do so. Achievements and upcoming projects that we'll be doing around the city of Belmopan. Parques Las Americas, we're currently under construction a bathroom, this is a pilot project that was collaborating with the private sector. This bathroom will help us with revenue as well. We'll be collecting there. The operating time will be from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Operating days are Monday through Sunday. Inauguration of the bathroom will be coming in soon. This is just a brief layout of how the new park will be setting up for all the vendors them. May Garden. Currently, we have 10 existing booths. We have 5 that are occupied right now. We have a proposed barber shop in the making. So we're going to see a lot of activities happening out there. So they don't say, you know what, Belmopan is boring, Belmopan don't have anything to do. So we're getting there slowly but surely. Daker's Food Court. I know this is a livelihood for a lot of people. Currently, we have 16 food stalls. Our operating time is from 5 p.m. to 3 a.m. Thursday to Sunday. What we encourage our vendors them, after you're finished for your day, to remove your tents, because during the day, it is a parking lot. But so far, we have been going good, and anybody from out district gonna come visit Belmopan, gonna visit the Daker's Food Court. And these are just some vendors that are authorized to sell at the parking lot. They have a wide variety of different foods. This is how it look at the night time. Independence Park. We have 4 booths there. All booths are occupied. We have a wide variety of different foods out there. Coming soon, we'll be having a police booth out there. So that will help with, you know, the robbery around that area. Service entrance before. These are the service entrance that used to be out at the different parks them. So now the service entrance them, we have upgraded them. They are all up to standards. We have some still currently in progress in working, but we're getting there. I think we have Las Flores Park and Harriet Tubman Park will be reconnected sometime next week. Another one. And then we have the Trade License Act here. This basically just to show, to inform the people them that for you to conduct any kind of business, you must have a valid trade license. Our Small Business Development Officer, we have that program going on right now. We are encouraging all new customers out there who haven't received haven't registered a new business, haven't registered their business as yet. Come in. We are here to assist you, to help you with that process, to make it much easier, so you don't have to, you know, I don't want to go in and get a trade license because it's difficult. No, we're here to help you and to guide you through that process so you can be up to date. And thank you so very much.
Thank you, Ms. Abby. Okay, that was our first report on trade, and we will continue in that on that role as far as revenue and our financials are concerned. At this time, I would like to call up on our valuation officer, Mr. Darren Russell, to give his report on the valuation unit at the Belmopan City Council. Mr. Russell.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to thank everybody to make time out of their busy schedule to come and join us today. And so I will present to you reports from valuation and compliance for 2026. I'll start off by going into the property tax. The property tax rule for Belmopan consists of the revenue stream should be around $2.7 million of the current year 2026-2027. The total tax collected thus far is $1.3 million. The outstanding taxes is at 1.3 as well. Now, the most important thing to note from this slide is the arrears. Arrears under 5 years is 2.5 million. The total arrears for 5 years and above is 4.9, which brings your total arrears to 7.5. This is important to note because we need to tackle these arrears accounts because some parcels in Belmopan have not paid their taxes for over 20 years. And so we're faced with a problem in receiving those funds that are desperately needed in order to grow Belmopan. And so the compliance unit is actively working on getting these accounts updated with personal information like phone numbers, email address, so that we could tackle and reduce these arrears in the near future. Next slide, please. All right, so this is the map of Belmopan. It has all the sections. There are 13 sections in Belmopan presently. The only area that is not listed there right now is the Innovabel subdivision. That should be all the way on the end on the right-hand side. And so with this map, there are 10,953 active parcels in Belmopan. Our valuation rule, however, has a little over 13,000, some of which are exempted. Those are government and sanitary body parcels, parks, buffers, and some other exempted parcels that are not listed as active. And so the active parcels are 10,953. I will then now, we're going to dissect this map and we're going to go section by section to show you exactly how the funds are spread across. Next slide, please. All right, so we're going to start off with West Belmopan. The total collected thus far from West Belmopan is just under $90,000. The outstanding is just above $96,000. The total amount of parcels for the West Belmopan thus far is 594. However, that area is growing rapidly because there are some subdivisions that are in process right now. And so that number would go up in the near future. Next in line, we have Forest Drive. Total collected is 120,000. Outstanding, 122. Total parcels in that area specifically is 254. And I believe there are a few more parcels that are yet to come out after subdivisions have been completed. There is go back to that slide one second. There's an area specifically in Forest Drive, however, is that we're not approving any subdivision because it's considered the industrial area and it will remain the industrial area. Next slide. We move on to South Ring Road. I can give you a few streets that are listed in those. You have like Mahogany Street, Barton Creek Street, McFadden Street, just so that you can visualize more or less where this area falls in Belmopan. The amount collected thus far is 131,000. Outstanding balance 106. Total parcels 893. I don't envision we have any expansion in that area because it's pretty much landlocked already. Then we move on to North Ring Road. Those areas would include Caracol Street, Cayman Street, and so on. Total collected 113. Outstanding 91,000. Total parcels 254. Next slide. Move on to national security. That area consists of 210 parcels, and streets like Nemo Drive, which has recently been paved, and Sir Calvin Young Boulevard are streets in that area. Total collected is 41,000. Outstanding is 35,000. Moving on to Mountain View, a total of 1,388 parcels. Amount collected 102, outstanding $136,000. Next slide. All right, and then we jump to Paradise section, which presently have 1,013. That area is expanding, and so we should have about 12 or 1,300 parcels in total by the end of the year. Total collected thus far is 35,000. Outstanding is 90,000. And some of the streets in that area would be Pebble Street, Wall Street, and a portion of Cemetery Road. Moving on to natural resources. That area consists of 1,245 parcels. We have thus far collected 112. We still have outstanding 111,000. And then up next we have Cosmopolitan section. That area consists of the George Price Road, Belen Street. In that area alone has 2,087 parcels. Should be some expansions coming there very soon. Total collected thus far is 90,000 and outstanding is $147,000. Up next is Cohoon Walk. Only 380 parcels there. Total we have collected is 39,000 and we still have yet 37,000 to collect. And now we have University Plains, which consists of Bachelor Street, Associate Street, also the Innova Bell subdivision falls under there. Total of 1,231. That area is growing rapidly, so we expect more parcels. And thus far, we have collected 146,000 with 148,000 yet to be collected. Next in line, we have the benefactors section. That area has 348 parcels, and so far we collected 23,000, and outstanding is $29,000. And then we have finally Mount Pleasant area, streets like Ben's Bluff, Mount Massey, George Price Boulevard. Total parcels in that area is 1,142. We have collected 281,000 and we have yet 144,000 yet to collect. As we go through these images, it's clear to note that Belmopan is growing, and so with the rapid growth of Belmopan, we need to ensure that we receive the funds so that we can tackle the maintenance and all the upgrades that Belmopan would need in the near future. So these, I section them off so that you can see exactly how many parcels are in each and what we have collected per section to give you a better in-depth look rather than just show figures on the screen that you may not understand. Next slide, please. All right, so let's look a little bit more further when it comes to our property tax, but we're going to put it in a report card form so that you can see percentage. As I explained, the first one is Mount Pleasant. We've collected the most in that area of 66%, and we still have outstanding 34% to collect in that area. Then second to that is Central Belmopan. We've collected 56%, and we are yet to collect 44% more to complete the 100. Next in line, North Ring Road. We've collected 55% of all the taxes there. We have yet to complete the remaining 45%. National Security, 54%. Outstanding, 46%. The Kohunwak area, we're just made it past half at around 51%. We have yet to collect 49 more percent. This area specifically is interesting because there's only 380 parcels in that area. So we should be collecting as close to 100% as possible. So that's an area that we need to work on, as all the other areas in Belmopan. Next up, we have the University Plains. We've met the 50%, however, we still have another 50% more to go. Next slide. The Natural Resources section, also we have met 50%. We still have another 50% outstanding. Forest Drive, we're just below the 50% line, and we're left with 51% yet to be collected. West Belmopan, we're at 46%, and we're yet to collect 54%. Benefactors, we're at 44%, and we're yet to collect 66% more. Mountain View, we're at 43%, and we're still yet to collect 57% more. Cosmopolitan section, we have collected 38%, and we're yet to collect 62% more. And then lastly, we have the Paradise section, which we've only collected 28%, and we have yet to collect the 72%. All these areas, some of the dynamics are different. For example, in the Paradise area, there aren't much development in that area. They are mostly natural land, and so it is a challenge to get everybody on board to pay their taxes as they should. But like I said, like all other sections in Belmopan, we are working on along with compliance to get these numbers as close to 100 as possible. Next slide, please. All right, so I would just like to have you guys take a note of this right here when it comes to our tax roll and how we would generally calculate taxes based on the master list. And so it's based on the site value, and our measuring tool is square yards. So we would convert all the parcels sizes into square yards. And for example, a rate for a specific area would be, let's say, $8 per square yard for a specific area in Belmopan, just as an example. So for example, you'd have a lot that measures 833.40 square yards. We would times that by 8. And that $8 that you see there is based on the development in the area. And then that would equal you out to 6,667.20 as an approximate site value for that property. And then the tax rate is at 2%, which is a fixed rate. It's not changed, and that is approved by local government. And then when you times the 2%, so the site value gives you 133.34 as an approximate tax for the year for a specific parcel. And it's also good that I explain this because we do have clients who come in and question their tax rate for the year because the tax rate differs for sections, because some sections are all the way up to about 24, some are at 8, some are at 12. And so some clients would say, oh, well, my friend that lives about 5 minutes or less away from me is paying, let's say, 133, but I am paying like around 150. And so this little calculation is important to explain because most people in Belmopan don't know how their taxes are calculated. And so it's good to have them have this in their minds to know exactly more or less the approximate tax value for their property. Next slide. All right, so this section I will hand it over to Ms. Morera so that she could explain more about the garbage and being household and commercial.
Good night, everyone. My name is Ms. Janil Moreira, Compliance Supervisor. I will be presenting on behalf of the Compliance Unit on the collection of garbage. As of this reporting period, the Council has a total of 5,010 active household garbage accounts. Annual fees for garbage total to 300,600, and we have an outstanding amount of 1,865,523. Can you skip the slide to commercial, please? When it comes to commercial garbage, we have a total of 1,175 active accounts. Commercial garbage annual fees total to $274,832, and while outstanding is $77,668. These figures are an accumulation of past years, and despite our efforts in trying to collect, mainly for customers who were not able to reach out to. One of our biggest challenges includes those with outdated contact information, as well as ownership records. Majority of the landowners within Belmopan sell their lots, and they do not come into the council to do the transfer, so majority of our accounts are filled with outdated information. So I do encourage landowners within Belmopan and those that own accounts come in and try to regularize their accounts. We do offer payment plans. So to keep everything in good standing, we do have our contact information for both both valuation office and the compliance unit that is listed on the last slide with our contact information and email address. Thank you.
Thank you, Janelle. Janil, sorry, I did spell your name. And with that, we will continue our presentation and go right into our financial report, which will be presented by our accountant, Mr. Dean Bradley.
Thanks, Mr. JB. Good night, everybody. Good night, Mayor, councillors, and everyone in attendance, HODs. I'll get right to it. Property tax, so the period we're doing is current year, or current fiscal year. Property tax, other tax revenue, 110. Property tax arrears, 93,000. Property tax current year, 300,000. On the left side, I have a flyer promoting our current discount package of 10% discount on arrears. License revenue. Trade license prepayment, 12,000. Trade license arrears, 3,000. Special trade license meetings, 600. Current year trade license, 84,000. Special liquor license meeting, 300. Extension of liquor license, 1,700. Special liquor license, 11,400. And liquor license, 3,400, bringing our total to 117,000 for the 2 months. Traffic revenue, motor vehicle license plates, 6,300. Other traffic revenue, 34,100. Learner's permit, 3,400. Traffic violation tickets, 19,600. Driver's license, 85,500. Duplicate of driver's license and registrations, 1,700. Motor vehicle registration, 10,100. And lastly, motor vehicle license, 225,000, bringing the total to 387,000 for the first 2 months of this fiscal year. All right, so we transition over to expenses. I did the three main income, and now I'll do the three of our highest expenses, no? The maintenance, personal emolument, the body that backs the council, and our public utilities. So personal emoluments. Summer employment, we have 430. Honorarium, 3,000. Social security, 37,700. Allowances, 142,700. Overtime pay, 53,700. Wages, 198,500. Salaries, 400,000. Okay, and on the right, I have a chart showing employment increase from the previous administration to now. For manual workers, we had previous 72. We increased that number to 109. Staff workers, we had 67 staff workers, and now we have 150. Previous total of both, 139, and the current total is 224. So we are increasing the number of employees at the council to provide better service for the council, right, for Belmopan. Public utilities, telephone and internet, 5,200. Water costs, 3,700. Electricity costs for the office, we have 7,000. And parks and playgrounds, we have 9,400 for the 2 months. The first 2 months, bringing our total to 25,578. Lastly, maintenance expense. So for the first 2 months of our current fiscal year, privatization projects, 7,400. Refuse and debris management, 23,000. Maintenance of traffic sign, 4,700. Pest control, 840. Maintenance of garbage disposal site, 3,900. Maintenance of streets, 104,000. Maintenance of drain and culverts, 35,000. Maintenance of implements, 900. Repair and maintenance of computer hardwares and softwares and licensing, 3,800. Repair and maintenance of heavy machinery, 51,000. Repair and maintenance of vehicle and small machinery, 11,500. Repair and maintenance of furniture and equipment, 500. Maintenance of parks and playgrounds, 11,600. And lastly, maintenance of buildings, 2,400, bringing the total expense to 262,000 for the first 2 months of this fiscal year. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dane. Okay, and with that, we are now coming to our audit report of the financials from 2018 to 2021, which will be presented by Mr. Flavio Salam, our financial director at the Belmopan City Council.
Thank you. Good night, Mayor, councilors, HODs, residents of Belmopan. It's a privilege to be here. Again, this is the third time that we will present financial information to the residents of Belmopan. And I believe that we have to thank God, first of all, for this opportunity. The current council played many aspects on the manifesto, and I believe that during these 2 years and months of administration, we are doing the best to achieve and comply with each and every one of the promises on that manifesto. Tonight, I have the responsibility to share, maybe will not be a good news because of the results of the audit, but it is a good news because of the achievement of the Belmopan City Council of this current administration. I will be presenting on the audit report for the years 2018 and 2021. Before we proceed with the audit report, I would like to give you a brief historical information how this administration inherited the Belmopan City Council. The new City Council was elected on March 7, 2024, and the officials sworn in, it was on Tuesday, March 12, 2024. When this administration inherited this operation, we found many challenges. Here is 4 main challenges that we inherit. Social Security. In March 2024, the Social Security arrears inherited were $81,000. By a letter of good standing, January 9, 2025, this current administration achieved to be up to date. In regards of the income tax, when we inherited the council, the preliminary arrears inherited were $583,000. When we reconcile these figures with the Belize Tax Service, we end up to get a letter with the final number of $956,000 in arrears. Since 2019, the Belmopan City Council was not in compliance with the income tax. That is employees' deductions, in other words. Sale of land and buffers. In regards of this type of transactions, we identified 169 sale of land at an undervalued price. In line with land transactions, also we identified 33 buffers sold or in the process of being sold. Currently, we have managed to recover 60% of these buffers. The last and the biggest one, it is the loans. We inherit a Belmopan City Council with $1.7 million loan with National Bank, $6.09 million loan with which is the municipal bond, and $1.7 million undeclared liabilities. What is undeclared liabilities? Means contracts, payments received in advance from residents of Belmopan, from business owners, with promising of lands and or services in Belmopan. We had a challenge to negotiate reasonable payment plans with these business owners, with these contractors, in order to honor and reimburse these funds to the residents or business owners in Belmopan. And the most important part, and the reason why we are here, it is that the most recent audit in March 2024 was the report of the fiscal year 2016-2017. That was the most recent audit report in March 2024. Through a resolution and in compliance with what is the mandate of the council in the Belmopan City Council Act, Chapter 86, Section 21 and 23, the current administration, mayor and councilors, and honoring the pledge on the manifesto that state that the pillars of efficiency, transparency, accountability, and Modernization of the Council, they gave us instructions to prioritize the exercise of the audit with the external auditors of the Council. Before we proceed, I would like to clarify three aspects of these reports. Number one, the auditor's opinion, it is an independent opinion based on evidence, based on supporting documents provided by the Council. What is expressed on these reports is not a personal opinion, is not the opinion of our Mayor Pablo Kawich, is not the opinion of our councilors. It is a professional audit firm behind these reports. And it's not new audit firm. This is the second clarification. It's the same audit firm that we inherit at the Belmopan City Council in March 2024. The third clarification, and the most important one, I believe, it is that the purpose of this presentation, you will find some names on the presentation, but it's not the purpose of the Belmopan City Council to targeting no one with this information. It is only the mandate of the council, and it is only for information purposes. We are not targeting no one with this information. It is the mandate, and as was pledged on the manifesto, we are given compliance to that promise. The first year that we will present tonight, it is the last year of the first term of Mayor Khalid Belay. This is the administration from 2015 to 2018. The mayor of the Belmopan City Council was Khalid Belay, councilors Ana Banner Guy, Jacqueline Burns, Ralston Fraser, Jane Briseño Lopez, Angel Pastrana, and Luis Willis. I am sharing only the cover page and the auditor's opinion. It is an adverse opinion. I will be explaining during the presentation what is the meaning of this adverse opinion. Let us continue. That was the first year. We will be presenting 4 years, 4 fiscal years. The last 3 years, it is the administration, the second term of Mayor Khalid, which is from 2018 to 2021. Mayor Khalid Lester Belay, councilors Jacqueline J. Burns, Paul P. Ochun, Isidoro Philip Richie Galvez, Jem Eleanor Pascasio, Angel Amado Pastrana, Luis Geraldine Willis. And the opinion from the auditors is adverse. For the fiscal year 2018-2019, adverse opinion. The following year, fiscal year 2019-2020, adverse opinion. And the last year of that administration, 2020-2021, adverse opinion. Let us analyze and explain what is an adverse opinion in an auditor report. Auditor's adverse opinion. According to the International Standards on Auditing 705, an adverse opinion is expressed when the auditor, having obtained sufficient appropriate audit evidence, concludes that misstatements individually or in the aggregate are both material and pervasive to the financial statements. Implications. An adverse opinion is the most severe type of audit opinion and indicates that, number one, the financial statements cannot be relied upon by users. In other words, this current council cannot rely on those reports. The entity's financial position and results are seriously misrepresented. Number three, it may trigger debt covenant violations and regulatory interventions. Number four, and the last one, users should not make decisions based on these financial statements. But why? Why or what they found on this, on those years of audit? Let us highlight some of the paragraphs of the audit report. It is due to pervasive and systemic failures in governance, financial management, internal controls, and adherence to legal requirements. Key findings include innovable land transactions, potential loss $319,000. Other land sales, buffers, potential loss $2.9 million. Trade-off transactions, potential loss $514,000. Other set-off, potential loss $850,000. Suspicious timing and potential misconduct. In aggregate, the findings indicate a period marked by significant financial mismanagement, potential losses exceeding $4.6 million, a disregard for fundamental principles of public administration and fiduciary responsibility, and severe internal control deficiencies. The operational environment facilitated the potential for abuse and resulted in considerable financial and reputational risk for the Belmopan City Council. This is only an extract of the auditor's report. And in compliance, as I mentioned, with the mandate of the Council on the Belmopan City Council Act and honoring the pledge on the manifesto, and based on the two pillars of good governance, please feel free to download these reports for your analysis. This is a public information. You can download the files using the QR code on the screen or visiting the Belmopan City Council webpage under downloads, and there you will find these reports. It is public information. If we explain or review or analyze these numbers here in a presentation, we would need more than a month. So please feel free to download the files. If you want to review more of the findings of the auditors, this is public information. Audit reporting process. We are working to finalize the audit of the previous administration from 2021 to 2024 and the first 2 years of administration of this current administration, 2024-2025. We project that before end of the year, we will be able to share financial statements up to 2025. There is a lot of work behind these reports. For what we achieve up to 2021, I will not be able to count how many sleepless nights city administrator, mayor, and councilors had to pass in order to achieve these reports. But it is the mandate of the council to provide accountability and transparency for each transaction that happens in the Belmopan City Council. During this current administration, each dollar that we process, expenses, salaries, utilities, maintenance, donations, no matter the nature of the transaction, it is reported to local government a physical copy of the transaction or being sent to the auditors of the Ministry of Finance. Each and every month of this administration have to be reported to local government, and we are in compliance so far up to this point. I would like to thanks again for your attention, for the time, for the residents present here, mayor, councilors. I just want to conclude my presentation saying that may God continue blessing our city, our country, our council, our mayor and councilors to continue giving us guidance during these difficult times. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Salam. I just want to add in a little piece there, Flavia, if you don't mind, and the sleepless nights of your staff that stayed up to get those reports and documents that you needed for that audit report and continue to need. Okay, with that presentation, that brings us to the end of the financial and revenue report for this evening's public meeting. Before we get to our questions, I'd like to once again call on His Worship Mayor Pablo Kowich to have a summarization of this report that was presented. And after he's done, then we will ask if anyone has any questions with regard to the meeting, to the presentation, for you to come forward, and there's a microphone in the middle to post your questions, and we will get the person that is in charge of that department to answer. And after we're done with the presentation, we will go into other questions that you may have as residents. So please, once again, welcome His Worship Mayor Pablo Kowich.
Thank you again, everyone. I hope that the presentations were clear and informative. I hope that you guys can see and appreciate the struggles that we go through to try and enforce compliance, and you can see that we don't get that 100% compliance from our residents. That introduces challenges as we move forward, but we need to still continue pushing forward, even if things don't go the way we want. I think last meeting, one of the points that we mentioned was that we were near the completion of the CBA negotiations with the Christian Workers Union. I must express that we have not managed to finalize that negotiation. We are still experiencing some delays on our side, but we are hoping that within the next couple months we will definitely be finalizing that and moving or renewing that CBA that is over or almost around 17 years old. So that's another item that we've had to deal with, which has prolonged in its life. The last point that I wanted to make regarding the financials and presentations and everything is that later this year we have a pending investigation that will be released that goes along with these audits. So that is something we will be announcing when we release that special investigation. Okay? I now pass on the mic back to the Master of Ceremonies so that we can get the question portion of tonight's meeting started.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you again. Okay, and with that, like I said earlier, we are ready to open the floor, and please let this portion of our questions be related to the presentation so we can keep the meeting in order. And after that, then we will then open the floor to any other concerns and questions that anyone may have. So at this time, is there any questions with regards to the report and the presentation? Would you like to step to the mic, please? One second, please.
Good night, everybody. First of all, let me say thank you very much, Mayor, for allowing the citizens of Belmopan to have a say. And this, I believe, is a very important aspect in our community and for development. I, however, would like to say that I am kind of disappointed that, especially this audit report, was not given prior notice to us so that we could have read up a little bit on it before coming here, because that is important. It is important that, yes, these things have happened, but we should also be able to have a first-hand report. In past, especially under Anthony Trinona, when we came to these public meetings, these reports were given to us so that we can peruse and really go over it, even if we don't have questions at the time. But I also think that if we were given prior notice, we should be able to have looked at these and have our questions and our concerns addressed here. The second thing I'm very concerned about are the buffers. It is said that 33 buffers were sold, and 60% of these buffers are now returned to the council. Belmopan, as far as I'm concerned, is very much a green space area. My concern is the buffer in front of Corozal Street that was sold under Khalil Bilal. I would like an update of that specific buffer. I know that, and the resident, especially in my area, we are waiting because we intend to step on that particular buffer concern, because that buffer, we cherish it. And I believe that because it was sold to Mr. Cal, who is a permanent PUP, that we have a conflict. So I would like to hear exactly what is happening with regards to that particular buffer. We also so that's my first concern. My second, again, as stated, I come from Belmopan Central. And one of the things that we have seen in Belmopan Central with regards to the greens, our buffers, our streets, those streets have not been properly attended to. Quite recently, I will give that, yes, in the police housing area, there have been some repairs to certain streets, but especially the district streets, those have been neglected. We have huge potholes. We have, in certain areas, grass growing on those streets, and nothing being done to address those problems. I'm seeing that the City Council had an increase in employment, so I'm not seeing the result as it relates to employment increase versus output from the City Council. So I would like also that when you say that, oh, we are employing more people, it is good to employ people because people need jobs, but you don't employ people for employ people's sake. I would like also a justification of those employments. And one more. There is also, I live at the end of Corozal Street, and in the past month, we've had a huge something happening where you have huge rocks being piled up, and they have caused problems at the end of each street when it comes to turning. When will these big craters and boulders move, and what is happening in that particular area? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Glennis.
Thank you, Ms. Glennis, for those questions. When it comes to the audit the audits presented, I'm not sure how much defense we would be able to provide or information we would be able to provide if you had perused previously and had questions. Those were audits way before our time, and as mentioned by the auditors, not even them have faith in those financials. So I'm not sure how much we would be able to respond when it comes to those audits, right? There was one of the points expressed by the auditors was that a lot of records were missing, which is why they couldn't validate information properly, hence the adverse opinion, right? When it comes to the buffers sold, the only buffers we managed to reclaim were buffers that were still in process. Any buffer that had been fully processed and title issued, we couldn't find any new landowner of those buffers that were willing to give it back. All of the ones that we managed to retrieve, as I mentioned, were because we stopped the process that was ongoing. So those were the ones we managed to reclaim back. That buffer beside Corozal Street, that big area between Ring Road and Corozal Street, is a titled property now. Legally, there is nothing the council can do other than to purchase it back. That is not something we have considered or thought about. Yes, they are protected if they are categorized correctly on the land itself. Unfortunately, not all categorizations are properly set on some of these lands, and because of that, sometimes natural resources would not realize. I have to give them the benefit of the doubt that they don't realize what they're selling and just continue with the process. Well, when we tried to explore the possibility of reclaiming these titled buffers, what was explained to me was that a businessman or a resident who purchases based on an offer given, it's not the businessman's or the resident's, I will say, responsibility, for lack of a better word. I am not defending these people. I am just expressing what I was informed when we tried to explore the cancellation of these titles and reclaiming those sold buffers. We have the exact same case with Innovabel, where it went public on the news that a lot of parcels were undersold at unapproved discount values. The same type of exploration we did for those, and similarly, once I was explained that once the title has been issued, we have absolutely no say. So if you would like for us to visit a lawyer and try to explore, we are willing to do that. I'm just expressing what we had already attempted and what we were informed.
Good night. Just an extension of the very same question. Why not publicize the names of those who have pilfered our green spaces? They are some of the same people over and over again, that whenever the city council falls short of money in the past, they go directly to these individuals. And these individuals know those things are green spaces and yet purchase them from under us. So I want to agree 100% with Ms. Glennis that I am also one of those persons who's very serious about greens, because Ministry of Natural Resources don't make any mistakes on greens, because we are the ones who go to and do the research. And we want back that portion of land. And I want to encourage this council to publish all of the names. And we will get to see that it's some people who we respect very highly are the ones who are purchasing our greens. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Wade. We can definitely explore the publication of these names. I must mention that after taking over administration at the council, we did receive a letter from the Commissioner of Stamps specifically, who operates out of the Ministry of Natural Resources. And the letter specifically stated that some green spaces that were applied to be sold were being rejected by the Commissioner of Stamps because of the categorization that they had. So I can only express what I am aware of. I can't say more than I know. So we will explore that publication for you, Reverend Wade. Regarding the district streets, I don't dispute your statements on the conditions of the road. What I can express is that the streets that we worked on recently had been receiving a lot of complaints, which was why those were given a bit of priority. I can't tell you your streets will be next, but I can definitely try to see where it would lie on the priority listing based on what we have documented and get back to you as to how fast we could reach your area. That's the most comforting response I could give to that point. Regarding the justification of employment, we don't hire just to hire. Obviously, we try to ensure that we don't spend money if it's not needed. The different departments did have a lot of understaffing. We presently still experience some challenges, especially when we have to juggle staff around between departments. You have had the privilege of working at the council and know that, or should know that, what used to be the sanitation department sometimes rotates staff with then the engineering department, which is now the infrastructure maintenance department. So that juggling still occurs a little bit, not as much as it used to, but the employments that happened were very necessary. You might not see the benefit in your area, but across the city, we have managed to deploy a lot more employees. Regarding the rocks piled up at the end of your street, I believe you're referring to on the grass area, like beside your house? Okay. That segment was the commencement of the opening of the road that will run from the entrance of the University of Belize to beside the Methodist Church, College Boulevard. So Recondev is presently, or was starting to execute that job of opening the road so that we can start fixing up that road and have a traffic alleviation when it comes to that Libertad Ring Road area. As you are well aware, that corner is one of the worst corners in Belmopan, which is why we're trying to get a stoplight for that corner. But part of the traffic alleviation solution is also that extension of the College Boulevard that will run from the entrance of UB to the Methodist Church. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. And also, just to add a little bit piece there from Ms. Glennis with regards, not Ms. Glennis, Mr. Wade, with the issue of the buffers. Please remember that those are all public information, and anyone can go to the council and request that information because the files are there, and you can easily go and ask, and you will know who owns what. It's public information. All right. So even if we don't get to put it out, you're free to come to the council and request it, and buffers that they want. Yeah. The buffers, and we can tell you. Yes, sir. No, I'm saying buffers, Mayor. Yeah, on the buffers. Titled information, we can't. All right? Any other questions with regards to the presentation?
It gives your parcel number and asks who owns this. We can't give them that because that's a titled property. We can't tell them who owns it because it's a titled property. What JV was mentioning is that if it's a buffer space and you come ask about the buffer, we can't tell you about the buffer. But I mentioned I was going to explore what you had requested.
Any other question with the presentation? Yes, go ahead. I think you have to turn on the microphone, please.
Good night. Since we're on the topic of buffers, another sacred space for me is the park in Cahoon Walk between Grapefruit Street and Lime Street.
I don't think that's a park.
I think it was intended to be a park.
Yeah, that's not a park. That's lots. That's just open lots. That's just open lots that people have kept clean, and they have not built on it, as far as I know. There's no parks in that area.
I used to reside on Grapefruit Street, and from what I was told, it was a park. So forgive my.
Okay, thank you. Anything else? Anyone else? No other questions? We don't want to make it a long night. Okay? In that case, if there is no other question with regards to our presentation, at this time, I'd like to open the floor if you have any other questions pertaining to any other issue that you may want to present to the mayor and the councilors.
There was one online question that I had read which asked, why are we using tents at the daycare's food court? And the response to that is that it is not a food court full-time. That is a parking lot during the day, and it's utilized as a food court during the evenings. So the person's question was, why don't we build up proper structures that we can rent out instead of utilizing tents? So I'm just clarifying that we cannot build a structure because it's a parking lot. All right.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay, again, like I said, is there any other questions that anybody would like to ask at this time? Yes, go ahead.
Good night, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to ask some questions. I don't have any questions regarding the audit because, as Glennis mentioned, it would have been good to have some information to chew on before tonight's presentation. So, but I want to first thank the council. I'm a resident of Belmopan since 2014, and I must say that my living experience in Belmopan has been pleasant for the most part, and I want to thank the mayor and the councilors for the work that you're doing. I know you're not perfect, but I also would like to see, I am of the opinion that with regarding the buffers, that you can go to battle for the residents. Whatever needs to be done, I think that we should not accept, we should not accept bad, unethical, we should operate with integrity. We should not allow unethical behavior to continue. And that's not only in Belmopan, but in our entire country. But I want to thank you all for what you're doing for our community. I have a couple things to share. Regarding communication, I'm not sure if there is, and I could be corrected here, but I made a comment here. Is there a community WhatsApp number for residents who are not always on Facebook? Because sometimes activities, events happens, and you find out about it afterwards. I am surprised. I expected to see more people, more residents come out for an important meeting. I appreciate past councils have not, from my knowledge living as a resident, have had meetings and presentations like this that I am aware of. So I think it's a good initiative. I commend the council for doing it. But Facebook is not everyone follows Facebook every day and can and are informed when activities are happening. So I know there's so many WhatsApp groups that we're a part of, but as a resident of Belmopan, I would welcome being on a community WhatsApp chat that is just announcing what's coming, what's happening within the community. I also commend you, Mayor, and your councillors for meeting. I see meetings are being held in different communities. I live on Bladen Street. That is, I think that's Section 7. I'm not aware that a meeting has been held in that area as yet. So I'm looking forward to when you do get around to our area, and so we can have a meet and greet with our mayor and his councillors. I think I commend that for the other communities. I've seen it done in other communities, and I commend you for that, your council for that. I also commend the council for publishing a WhatsApp number where residents can report businesses that are, you know, infringing in whatever ways. I haven't used it yet, but I did notice during morning walks, certain businesses have in terms of disposal of garbage, their front space needs attention. So I just haven't gotten around to it yet, but I'm glad that there is a phone number where residents can contact. So just wanted to commend you for what I observe as a resident of positive things from the council. Regarding May Garden Park, I would like to see enhancements of the children, amenities for children at May Garden Park. Also picnic benches, I've seen those at the Governor General field, Governor General field, and also at the park in Tiger Town. I don't know if those are sponsored, but I'd like to see picnic benches in the May Garden Park as well. There was, maybe a year or so ago, there was a home recycle program, and but it seemed to have just been a one-time thing. I would like to know if the council has any programs or any upcoming initiatives in place that promotes recycling, as just to be a sustainable city. And I believe there are more residents who would be interested in being a part of this, in contributing to the protection of our environment. I personally, at our home, we reuse gallon bottles. With plastic bags, we fold them up and reuse them for other purposes. It's like we don't want to throw things in the garbage that could be recycled. So that would be a community initiative that I would like to see happen. And and Belmopan as a tourist destination. I don't know if the council has any, tourism is my background, and I remember one time I was riding a bus from Dangriga to Belmopan, and I was sitting next to this lady, and we got into conversation, and she said she's a tourist traveling from one point to the other. She needed an overnight stay, and she ended up booking an Airbnb, I believe. And it was surprising to me. It's like Belmopan is not really considered a tourist destination. So to know that there are travelers out there identifying Belmopan as a midway point. They're coming from the Melchor border. They're coming from Guatemala and heading to, this woman was coming from Guatemala and heading to Hopkins. But she broke her journey because it was a long travel. So it's an opportunity, as I also represent the Belize Tourism Industry Association, and I know that there was a presence of BTIA in Belmopan but I guess people don't see Belmopan as a tourist destination, and so they, I believe it's an opportunity that can be developed with participation, business participation, working along with the council. So I'm interested to hear if there's any future initiatives in the pipelines for Belmopan. And my last point, which is my, also I would like to get a map of in the presentation, there was a map of Belmopan, because I just, through the election, participating in election, I learned that I'm in section 7, but I really don't know how Belmopan the layout is, so I would really love to have that map. Okay, but my main point tonight I'd like to mention is, what are we doing in terms of social care for adults with disabilities? I have my brother here. I'm his caregiver, and he's 58 years old. He has been, from a teenager, he's been diagnosed with a disability, a mental disability. I've been his caregiver now since 2022, full-time, and he wants to work. And I'm standing here not just for him, but for other members of this community who have been disregarded as being productive members of potential productive members of our society. He wants to work. He wants to be independent. He does not want to be relying on his sister and his brothers for everything. And so I see an opportunity with parks. And this is a point that it's a bit bittersweet, because in May Garden Park, there are enough garbage containers, but people still throw their trash on the grounds. Well, that's an opportunity for my brother Charles and other people like him. The parks need to be cleaned. I also think of the park at United Evergreen School. Now that's a school. The children, they need to, during lunchtime, they need to go to the park. Well, some children need to go to the park to have their lunch, you know. After a weekend and a Monday morning, you're walking your children to school, the park is filthy. And so there are, I know the council have its staff, its usual staff, but I implore you to consider opportunities for people with adults with disabilities who can be productive members of this society in different areas. And keeping the parks clean is just one of the opportunities that I see that can benefit to this vulnerable population in our society. And so my recommendation is that we establish a task force that is comprising the Belmopan City Council, the Belize National Mental Health Program, the Ministry of Human Development, the Ministry of Education. Because people with, from my experience as a mental health advocate, and I no longer want to call it mental health advocate, it's adults with disabilities. They are treated differently because it's like, I don't like to use this word, but I'll use it just for context. They're crazy. They're not worth anything. Just keep them sedated. That's my experience, my lived experience. Just keep them sedated with medication. I see a better quality of life for these people. education programs, educational programs that are set up, develop life skills, develop vocational, their cognitive abilities are still there. Develop, working along with businesses who are willing to be a part of a program where the individual is trained, is mentored, and has the skills are established and fit with a business that fits the skills that the person has. But it has to be a coalition of organizations coming together and identifying. We need to take care of the vulnerable people in our community. Some of them just roam around with nothing to do, absolutely nothing to do. Families and caregivers need to find things for them to do. So while you're trying to, currently some caregivers, like myself, we work from home because we don't have anywhere to take our loved ones during the daytime. So I'm working from home and finding things for him to do, because when he doesn't have anything to do, then he gets bored. Then idle minds, we know what that saying is. They can be productive members of this society.
Okay, can we just finish up the question? We need to get the answers, please.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
So, well, those are really just my comments I wanted to share. It wasn't really a question, it's for thoughts to put to the mayor and his councillors. And so thank you for the time.
Thank you so much.
You gave a lot, starting with the communication and the community number. Regarding the communication part, we started and pledged through the manifesto that we ran on, that we were going to restart the community meetings in the different areas. We have started our community meetings. We have 14 stops or neighborhoods across the city. We were in the central area, or the Site 7 area, about a month and a half ago. Since then, we did Belmopan and Rivera. So we were there about a month and a half ago. As part of our community visits, we have been trying to encourage and have been creating neighborhood watch groups, WhatsApp neighborhood watch groups in all areas that we go if one does not already exist. We also have a number which is 675-TEL. This number should be utilized to report any issues across the city. We have also started a community safety network in collaboration with in a partnership with the police department and Digicel. I think as of 2 weeks ago, we have the Belmopan station, the Belmopan substation, and the Roaring Creek substation with a physical device that is to be dedicated to WhatsApp neighborhood groups. These numbers will be shared hopefully before the week is over by the council, if not early next week. And the purpose of this group is to serve as a backup means of outreach to the police. The first approach should be what exists already, the 911 number, any direct number to the police station. And then after attempting those, we advise people, then you move to the neighborhood groups and the direct community safety network numbers. Regarding May Gordon Park and the play sets, we recently did an inspection in that park. If I'm not mistaken, it was earlier this week I was there. I documented what were some of the things that needed to repair. We identified, or we had spoken to one of the vendors that works out of that park, and she had expressed that she's of the belief that sometimes children's lives may be put at risk because they are running around in the park and vehicles drive all the way up to the basketball court. So that is something we were also analyzing while we were there. 2 councillors had also visited the area apart from me. Regarding the benches at Devon Beaton, which is located in Mountain View, those benches, similarly to the ones at GG Field, were a special project by the Honorable Oscar Mira and Recondev. So I know that the next park that is being targeted is Topsy Park, and I think it was a park in Las Flores. So the benches is something that Recondev and the Honorable are executing in collaboration with the City Council. Regarding the recycling point, we do push a lot for climate action and climate resilience. We actually completed a 1-year training program for primary schools in waste separation at source education. The purpose of that was to teach primary school students on the importance of separating waste so that they can go back home and correct or guide their parents when disposing waste at home. Separate your bio waste from your plastics, from your regular garbage. So that is something we're doing. We do plan on continuing pushing down that route because we are strong advocates of climate action. Regarding Belmopan as a tourist destination, I know many councils have attempted different approaches. We were, I think about 2 months ago, we started discussions with Banana Bank. They offer horseback tours, and they expressed an interest to pass through Belmopan as part of their tour. So the councillor for tourism, who is presently the deputy mayor, was working along with that group to try and identify places that presently exist in Belmopan. For example, George Price Center for Peace, Development and Peace, the Philip Golson House, the National Assembly building that was recently running tours at this moment. We also have a biodiversity park, which we are trying to work on with some different ministries. We have not had our first meeting as yet. We're still in process of assembling the group, which will consist of a cross-cut of the different ministries and departments that have a responsibility with environment and tourism and those things, and sustainability. So that is also another project which we're working on, where we believe would serve, which we believe would serve as a tourist destination for our capital city. We also are working on another project to implement or to construct a museum in Belmopan, the National Museum. And along with that, we are targeting to implement a culture center as part of the museum as well, to promote the different ethnicities and cultures that we have in Belize. So these are some of the projects when it comes to tourism. Regarding social care is not necessarily one of the things that falls under the responsibility of the council, of the city council. That falls more under the central government realm. However, we presently do have 2 employees that have special abilities or disabilities. We also, apart from that, we are exploring the creation, actually, I can't say we're exploring. We have started the construction of a committee that will be tasked to analyze the mentally challenged and drug abuse individuals that roam around the city. We do understand, or we do know that these individuals sometimes get aggressive, and due to that, we have set, as a city, we have set a little bit of a higher priority to try and find a solution for that. So regarding what you were mentioning about the committees, that is something we're already embarked on. The parks that you mentioned, it is a reality that our culture likes to litter. No matter how close the garbage bin is, for some reason it's easier to drop it right beside you than to walk to the bin. We do have, I think it's on a daily basis, our litter pickers visit the different parks to clean them up, because athletes or the youth that go and play basketball, volleyball, football, they do tend to leave a lot of garbage. And no matter how much times you ask, please, no left garbage, we still find garbage in the areas. So the reality is we have to send our litter pickers to clean up the areas every day, or the parks specifically, because they do walk around the different neighborhoods as well, cleaning those areas as well. Thank you.
Thank you again, Mayor. Currently, it's 8:21, I'm seeing there. So I would like to offer another 9 minutes and call this meeting to a closure at 8:30. So we'll take a couple more questions, and we'll ask you to keep them short so we can get to as many people as we can in the next few minutes. Go ahead, sir.
Good night, Mayor. Good night, Councillor. Just concerning the report that says 114 liquor license in Belmopan. Secondly, we're talking about people on the street, mentally challenged, or whichever you want to call it, the drugs, alcohol that is taking our city. Now we notice that there have been a lot of, we are experiencing murders, the loss of life, gunshot, real thing that really a concern for the people in the city, because our city never know about those kind of stuff going on. And I think something that keeps saying, there was a report that says Belmopan is kids friendly. Belmopan was family oriented. Belmopan was known for a quiet place that people are coming. There was a report says we're going to cut off the liquor license. No more liquor license was going to be issued, but I understand, I see 14 more is added to the 100. And secondly, along with that, is that we don't want to, I was concerned with this last murder situation in Belmopan that there was not a coming together as the city council, the councillors. I am very concerned that over the past 2 terms, I have not seen councillors connecting with, in particular, the church. Because one of the things that we are finding, we are walking away from the core values of principle that make our nation special. Honorable Judge Caleb Price, that was his priority, and in this city especially. And there have not been anything of saying, what can we do to collaborate together? This is a serious issue that fringes on the safety and security of citizens. And I haven't seen the urgency of the councillor coming together to discuss that specific matter. And I just want to ask, when do we stop in terms of expanding more liquor licensing? Because this is a serious problem with workers. Friday when they get paid, it's domestic violence in the community. So when do we stop? What is the priority on those liquor license situations?
Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Smith. Regarding the 114 liquor licenses, Belmopan doesn't manage just the municipality when it comes to liquor license. We also manage the rural areas from Mahogany Heights to Unitedville and Blackmanedy, sorry, and St. Margaret to Valley of Peace. So these 114 are not just for the municipality. Regarding the no more liquor licenses, I am not aware of that any at all. I would have to ask my trade unit if I could find a. Oh, you done left? Yes. I would have to follow up on that, Brother Smith. That's the first time I'm hearing something like that. So I will definitely follow up on that for you. Regarding the murder memorial, the council did not arrange anything because the medical arm of our country was already organizing something. Right after the incident happened, I did go out to the scene and spoke to the police. I spoke to 2 relatives of the doctor. And we were aware that something was going to be organized. So I didn't see the necessity for the council to do another event. We participated, or at least I know I participated in the memorial arranged by the doctors. So I'm not sure how I can, go ahead.
I mean, that's not what I'm addressing. It's not having another candle vigil. But what can the church, a representative, and the council look at that can help? What are some of the things that's triggering this? For example, we know the church been addressing the whole rude boy sign that can't come down yet, which appeal to younger kids being rude. You know what rude is all about. And I'm saying too much, one death is too much for the city. We've been having the triple murder of the Belmopan area. We have the doctor situation there. We have several others that happen, gunshot slinging. So what can we do to cooperate together to combat the crime and violence that is trying to take our peaceful city? Thank you.
Well, what we could do to combat crime and violence, I believe the first thing we would need to do is sit down and discuss. For those who are not aware, I meet with pastors from across Belmopan every first and third Tuesday of the month. We have a prayer session where I usually try to get guidance from the pastors on different areas that they choose to cover for that day. As I had expressed regarding the billboard, as I had expressed at these meetings, the billboard, in my humble opinion, is a subjective matter, and I do understand the perspective of the church, of the churches, not just one church. But again, as I have expressed, I am willing to join a movement to set rules on content. I see no benefit in bringing down one billboard within the city for it to be erected just outside the city limits. I am prepared to join with the churches if we want to push for legislation on content. That particular billboard, in my view, is very similar to billboards across the country. So I am prepared to stand beside you for us to set rules on something like that.
Thank you, Mayor. And I think this will be our last question before we close. Okay, we'll take two more.
I'll be quick on this. You touched on it, Mayor, which, by the way, just thank you so much for your transparency and just being able to set up this forum for here tonight. I greatly respect you for taking the time to take all these questions. It takes a lot of courage to come before an audience of people who want to grill you with questions, and so I have a lot of respect for you. And so you had mentioned the billboard that's located on Forest Drive, and I know that the pastors and ministry leaders submitted a formal letter regarding the removal of this billboard. Belmopan has been regarded as a family-oriented and community-centered city, but this billboard is a clear violation listed in the jurisdiction of offenses, Chapter 98, which states, anyone who willfully exposes to view in any street or public place any obscene print, picture, or indecent exhibition. Additionally, it also says exhibits to public view any picture or printed or written matter which is of indecent or obscene nature. In a similar issue in Kingston City, the council in Jamaica removed a similar offensive rude boy billboard. It's clear that this material displayed on the billboard at Forest Drive and Constitution Billboard falls within the intent of the provisions that were set in this jurisdictions, and particularly given that the advertisement is located in a prominent and public area, frequently visited daily by families, school children, residents, visitors in the capital city. So the question appears that, I know you'd mentioned about the legalization or creating some type of legality that would be able to enforce it, but it seems that it's already been established of what indecency is, and so it seems that it's actually more an issue of enforcement. Correct me if I'm wrong on this. And so it's widely known that sexual assaults are widely underreported here in Belize, but as someone who works with youth, we see between 50 to 60% of young women under the age of 21 have been sexually assaulted, and nearly all women that we have worked with have reported being sexually harassed by the age of 21. This billboard clearly furthers the objectification of women, which is the overarching greatest concern, and I stand with you and agree with you that it does no good to take down one only for one to come right outside city limits. But what can we do for Belmopan? I know people like to complain about all the little potholes, but if I get a little flat tire, I can replace that tire. However, when a young woman's innocence is stolen, that cannot be replaced. And so tonight, how can we, as the city of Belmopan, create a safe place for our daughters and granddaughters to stand up for the women in our community, protect them in honor and respect? Can you say, what can we do here tonight to bring that billboard down?
Thank you for the question. I have a feeling Reverend Wade question on be about the billboard as well. So let me just clarify that I don't think it makes a lot of sense for us to get into a lot of back and forths, but let me address the point you made. I believe Reverend Wade pointed out that same indecent point as I had expressed at our prayer meeting last week. Indecent is subjective. What might be indecent to one is not indecent to another. So, for clarity, I would like to ask, when you guys go next Tuesday, please try to print out that billboard and circle for me what is the indecent portion so that I can show you billboards across the country that are exposing more than that specific billboard. Right? And I go back to the point that I want to fight this fight with you. As you guys have consistently said, God put me here for a reason. And the reason in my reception from the messages I am getting from the Lord is telling me that we are presently trying to fight the wrong thing. We need to take the fight to a higher level, which is why I insist on the content legislation, not that specific billboard.
Thank you very much, Mayor. I think you've made your stand very clear on the particular issue. I don't know if most people know, but I was the first public relations officer for the city of Belmopan. I worked 6 years with Mayor Chanona. It was established that Belmopan doesn't want casinos. So if the city wants casinos, they have to go back to the people. Because when they came to the people, even though you were not the mayor at that time, that was established by the city. Green spaces were also established as not for sale by the city in town meetings just like this, that I was present. So one of the reasons why I speak on a lot of issues of Belmopan is because I've been here at the start. And so, yes, it is true that people change, and it's true that what is insensitive change, and it's true that what may or may not be shown in our green spaces change. But it has to be done so with the approval of the people. You and your team operate on behalf of the people. We made you our mayor, our leader, not our judge to arbitrate what is decent and indecent, but to hear what your people have been saying. And I believe that your residents of Belmopan, including myself, have made it crystal clear that we in Belmopan do not want that billboard up. We want it down. And we wrote to you because you have the authority, because it is the city of Belmopan that gave permission to the advertising agency that now can apparently put anything they want on the billboards in the green spaces, and this particular city council is not going to do anything about it. That is what concerns me. That is what concerns me, because this is our green space that you, the city, administrate on our behalf. You cannot say that the country of Belize did not have a public uproar about the billboard, because every media house aired it. It was aired on every media house with people saying, I don't want my daughters. So at what point in time does this city council believe that it has some responsibility to the city to the residents of this city as it relates to the billboard? And it is a bigger issue because I run a drug rehab in the country. So to make it a bigger issue, it's already a bigger issue, Mayor. Richard Smith, who came to stand up here, runs the other one at my refuge. And Pastor Scott works at Freedom House, which is another. So when we also write to you, we are writing to you not just as three individuals or as parents, but we're writing you as the only people who have drug and alcohol rehabs in the country. So in essence, we are speaking to you from a place of recognizing the problem that alcohol is causing, not just countrywide and in our city. So I want to say that the ship is sailing because the billboard will come down. The question for us is just whether it is the city council that will take it down, or it is going to be the area representative that takes it down, or that. And so what we have done, I'll be honest with you, is come to you first because of respect and recognition of your work. And that's why we have done nothing except simply appeal to the city council. But the ship is sailing. Number two, the property that our sister talked about when she came to this microphone and said she thought it was a park. As I said, I've been here from the beginning. It is a park. And Kuhunwak, when it was developed by the developer Lucas Pat, did not provide green space for the residents. And the city council at that time went to him and demanded property. This is the kind of attitude that I want this city council to have regarding green spaces, to act on behalf of the people, where when Kuhunwak did not have green space, the city went to them and said, give us the green part, and he had to, because it's the law. So go check those things that still have numbers on them. They belong to the city and they belong to the people. And we as leaders, we only operate as leaders within period of time frame, but the city will always be here. So I want to encourage you on that. Do your due diligence on those properties. And my final comment is this city has so many people that are walking drunk now that we never saw before. People that are begging, petty stealing, crack cocaine is in this city more than ever before. As I said, I work with the people. And so you can't tell me you don't see that all around us people are now walking up and down more than ever before. And that San Martin Road all the way back. And we just had a case where the police arrested a woman for selling crack cocaine in the city of Belmopan. And it's a woman that actually literally came to our church one day to see who all I had that were former customers. She came and sat in the church. So these people are aggressive. And I believe that when we support things like saying we don't know what is
Do you enjoy learning and wanting to know more about Christ our Savior? Then join Phil Sanders in Search of the Lord's Ways every Sunday 7:30 a.m. and 8:30 a.m. on Plus TV for half an hour of beautiful hymns and Bible messages. Messages are repeated on Tuesdays at 1:30 and Fridays at 10:30 a.m. Search in the Word for God's will. Know more and do more for the God we love. In Search of the Lord's Ways with Phil Sanders is being brought to you by the Church of Christ in your area. Be sure to visit.
Mopping, tiles, furniture, and...
Miss, you don't need all of this, man. Only this you need to make 4 out of this. And it's cheaper than all of them put together.
I want it.
Green Clean. All your cleaning needs in one bottle.
Conducting a defense biosecurity operations against a rapidly mutating colony of foreign microbial invaders attempting to establish residency within the human host.
Oh, so germs.
Join medical graduate and author Madeleine Tucker for 60 Second Health Talk, a brand new Plus TV series